shouldn't be taught either. The latest is intelligent design. I refuse even to call it that. I refuse to gratify them by using the term. It's creationism. And again, with the equal time demand, fairness, great American virtue. So after the biology class, we'll have the creation period. And then after chemistry, where it'll be time, children, forget your alchemy books out. This with taxpayers' money. And then we'll be doing, well, you can see how the rest of it will go. After astronomy, we'll be doing our zodiacs. So, no, we're not having it. Now, why don't they say, I want to hear it from them, that it's possible to be a religious person and not preach garbage in school? Let them be the ones to propose this compromise, and then if I see a genuine hand being extended, I might take it. But I think Stephen was attributing much more goodwill to the other side than it really manifests.
I think this will have to be a final question, really, Christopher. Your critics sort of argue there's no light and shade, no room for disagreement in a Christopher Hitchens argument. And I mean, do you accept?
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
I mean...
Do you accept actually that you are rather evangelical in your promotion of atheism?
No, because I have nothing to convert anyone to. See, that's, ladies and gentlemen, you should regret that giggle. I mean, you will. Tomorrow you'll be sorry. I have nothing, I ask yourself, have I tried to persuade you of any one point of view? No, I've said, beware of anyone who says that you already have all the evidence you need. That's been my constant point. The only progress we've ever made, can ever hope to make, is by continual doubt, skepticism, the measurement of evidence against theory, practice against theory. That's not just, as I gave with the example of Father Lemaitre and the Pope, things cannot be, even if they're right, established as dogmas. I think I rest my case. Couldn't we end on a more controversial note?
We can, if you like.
Something bitchier, I mean.
I think I've got just the thing, actually, because, and it was Professor Richard Dawkins who did this, put this kind of slight upon atheism, I suspect. He wants you all to be called brights, I guess because you're brighter than the rest of us.
Yes. I really wish, I say in my book, he and Daniel Dennett, another great scientist and teacher, I really wish they hadn't done that, because I think it's wrong perhaps three ways. I mean, no one could say Father Lemaitre was stupid, for example. That's one thing. Two, if it was a test of intelligence, it would have the unpleasant suggestion that that's how society should be ordered. I mean, like the Brave New World concept of the alpha and the beta and down to the epsilon and so forth, which is a sinister behaviorist form of utopia. And the third is that it gratifies exactly the suspicion of many religious people that they're looked down upon and scorned by the pointy-headed intellectuals and so forth. And I absolutely promise you that I don't do that, even with the real lowbrows and slopeheads among them. They're my fellow primates too.
I mean, so I was going to finish.
Even with the real
I was going to finish
vicious,
there.
you know,
I don't want to finish.
Barely evolved ones.
I don't want to finish on that bitchy
The
note.
ones whose eyes are so close together they could use a monocle. That's it. Are you saved? Oh, shut up.
Okay, just to be clear, and it's obvious, obviously, to just about everybody, but an atheist is a person who believes there is no God. An agnostic believes that nothing is known or can be known about the existence or nature of God. Why is that a less rational position than yours? Sorry, I just jumped like a pea on a hot shovel because I'd meant to say this when you said about Stephen calling himself an agnostic. I would have been if I'd been around, and I still am, a great admirer of Thomas Huxley, the man who is I think, uncle of Aldous and Julian, who was known as Darwin's bulldog. He had the great debate on Darwin at the Natural History Museum in Oxford with Bishop Wilberforce, known as Soapy Sam to his parishioners, who was a descendant of the great William. And Huxley creamed him on that occasion, as everyone
Remember, it was a walkover for our team. And so we're all very grateful to Thomas Huxley, but I can't thank him for his coinage of the term agnostic, which was his bolt-hole term. Again, to try for a compromise where I don't really think the basis for it exists. So you don't have to say you don't believe in God. You can simply say not all the returns, not all the evidence are or is in yet, so I won't declare. Now, I think that that's wrong twice. One, you're not saying that you cannot prove that there is no God. No atheist has ever said that. There is a scientist in America called Victor Stenger, who's produced a book called God, the Failed Hypothesis, who goes as far now as to say science can definitively say there isn't. But I think that's a very adventurous position. But the atheist view is there's absolutely no reason ever been advanced by another primate to believe that there is one. And when you've got that far, you really ought to say there isn't, it seems to me. Not that for that reason I'm not sure. And it's completely not on all fours with the other position, which is evidence has nothing to do with it. Faith is much more important. Not only should you have faith, but you'll be saved if you do. Now, that's not, I don't know. It's not, there might be. It's unless you do it like Pascal and say it's a vulgar bet, it's a wager, what have you got to lose? Which I think is morally creepy, as well as evidentially unsound, because if some huckster comes to me and says, look, he may not be there, but if he is, you've got everything to gain by saying you believe in him, even if you don't really, I'll say, well, then I don't think much of your God, because if there is such a person, and I spend my life arguing that there isn't, and I do my best, when I check out, which I sure will, if I find that I'm mistaken and I'm confronted with the guy, I would hope he would be able to say, I at least admire your honesty. Okay, let's close on this, ladies and gentlemen. The Christians don't give their God that much credit. So doesn't that say something both about the fear base and the fact base and the moral base of what their faith really is? I submit that it really does, and thus that one is morally healthier as well as much more likely to be studying science and reason objectively if one puts religion behind one.
Ladies and gentlemen, save your applause because I'd just like to say thank you. We see Christopher Hitchens here probably once a decade or something along those lines, and I hope we don't have to wait that long to see him again. I've certainly enjoyed talking to him. I'm sure you've enjoyed listening to him. Please thank him properly now.
Thank you. Nicely. Tony Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to show this? Yes. Am I covered in sweat?
I don't know what an encore is in this environment. Perhaps he could just sing one verse. One more verse.
Well, I could do it straight through.
Go ahead.
Of the boozed out philosophers.
Yes.
Of the Wally-Maloo Philosophy Department, ladies and Bruces. It's Eric Idle's great performance at the Hollywood Bowl. Sorry, it's a real honor to be SK. Oh, Immanuel Kant was a real pissant who was very seldom stable. Martin Heidegger was a boozy beggar. He could think you under the table. David Hume could outconsume Schopenhauer and Hegel. And Wittgenstein was a beery swine.
Really,
Wittgenstein was a beery swine who was just as sloshed as Schlegel. There's nothing Nietzsche couldn't teach about the raising of the wrist. Socrates himself was permanently pissed. John Stuart Mill, of his own free will, on half a pint of shandy got spectacularly ill. But Plato, they say, could stick it away. Half a crate of whiskey every day. Aristotle was a bugger for the bottle. Thomas Hobbes was a slave to his dram, and René Descartes was pissed as a fart. I drink, therefore I am. Yes, Socrates himself is particularly missed. A lovely little thinker, a lovely little thinker, lovely little thinker, but a bugger when he's pissed.
Okay. Yeah.
If the song had a title, which it doesn't yet, I think it should be called Reductio.